Hey everyone, this is part 3 of my transgender transitioning videos that I've done. The first one I did ages ago was on emotions because that was like the biggest thing that I'd noticed personally. And the second one was about body changes, where I kind of went into, how everything changed. And this one is about transitioning in public because that was a big issue for me when I was first like going down this road of transitioning. It was about how am I going to do this in public? Because I'd read these horror stories about people like putting on dresses basically and just going out into the world because that's what made them happy. And good on them. Like if they got that much confidence. I wish I had that much confidence. But yeah, it scared the hell out of me. So that was the big thing that I was worried about, and this video is about what I did, how I handled transitioning. So I've known that I was trans since I was like 16, 17. Before that, I had the feelings, but I didn't know what it was. So it was when I was like 18 that I first went to a counselor to try and get help for it, and yeah, I kind of chickened out. I chickened out big time because my main concern at that age was, am I gonna get laid again if I transition? I was really scared. Like, what girl's gonna want me? And that scared me off. And it wasn't until I was like 24, around 24ish, that I went back to a counselor and said, hey, I want to do this. You know, I'm not happy. I'm not happy where I am at in my life, and I just want to be me. And fortunately, they were able to access my records from when I had counselling at 18, and that kind of sped the process up a bit for me. And I had 3 sessions with 2 different counsellors, and they both agreed, you know, with the reports that I had when I was 18, saying that I was trans. And so I was referred to a doctor in the city, a specialist. I got so lucky with this doctor, honestly. She made my transition so easy for me, and very grateful to have gotten a doctor like her. But she's since retired, so now I'm out in the world by myself, just going to random doctors to get my prescriptions and get my blood checked and everything. But she made it so much easier for me. I can just, like, before her, I was a nervous wreck. You know, I was, like, fearful of going to the doctors. But now it's just like, meh, I'll just go into the doctors and say, hey, I need some prescriptions, can you help me out? You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's where I'm at now. But back then, it was still all new to me. I was just like, I don't know what to do. So I got referred to my doctor, well, my old doctor now, and she basically explained to me how she did it. A lot of doctors do things differently, but she basically took my blood work and started me on testosterone blockers, spironolactone. And I was on those for 6 months. And she basically said, during these 6 months, you just take these. And these are going to clear all the testosterone from your system. Well, most of it anyway. And I was like, okay. I was hoping for some estrogen, but, you know, whatever. And so I took the testosterone for 6 months. Now, during this 6 months, I kept presenting as a male. I did not change anything. I didn't even get laser on my face yet. And so for that 6 months, still lived as a guy. And at the end of that 6 months, I went back to my doctor, and she was a little concerned because I walked back in still this dude, and she was just like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Like, she was really concerned, and I sort of had to explain to her, "Look, I'm not comfortable presenting as female yet," and she was cool with that. So she prescribed me estrogen after that 6 months period, and that's when the changes started happening. So I started taking the estrogen and went out into the world and kept presenting as a male. But I had laser on my face to get rid of my very thick facial hair, and that kind of babied my face up a little bit. I still look like a guy, but I looked like a pre-puberty kind of guy, if that makes any sense. And so yeah, that happened, and yeah, kept presenting as a guy, and it was about 7 months into taking estrogen when my body had noticeably gotten curvier, I guess you could say, and my breasts had really developed to a point where they were noticeable through a shirt, but I was still presenting as a guy. I was still using men's bathrooms. I was still using my birth name. Yeah, that's where I was at. And because at that point, I basically decided that society was going to decide when I transitioned. Society was going to decide when I started presenting myself as female. And it was about the 7th month mark where I started getting misgendered a lot. And I say misgendered because I was still presenting as male. And I was getting mistaken as a female at that point. And so that was the point where I started going, okay, maybe it's time to make the switch now. And I had this experience in a toilet at that time where I walked into a men's toilet, did my thing, and I was walking out and there was this other dude there. And he was like, whoa, you're not supposed to be in here. And I was just like, yeah, I am. And he's like, no, you're not. This is the men's bathroom. And I was like, I'm a guy. And he's like, no, you're not. I'm like, yes, I am. And he was like, no, you're not. And then I just put on the deepest voice I could, and I was like, yes, I am. And he was like, oh, okay, alright. And he had the weirdest look on his face, and he walked out. And that was a weird experience for me, but that really started making me question, okay, should I, just present as female now? But I was still a bit scared at that point, so I didn't. And another month went by, and I kept getting misgendered, to the point where I was just like, alright, I'm happy that I'm getting mistaken as a female, so maybe, maybe I should just give this whole presenting as female thing a go now, because that's how people are already taking me. They were taking me as a butch girl, basically. But no, I was still a little bit scared, so I kept presenting as male. And it was really this incident I had at a toilet near my local shops, where I went into the men's toilets, and there was this dude in there, and he was just like, whoa, you're in the wrong toilet. And I'm just like, oh, no, I'm not. And he's like, yes, you are. This is the men's toilets. I'm like, oh, no, it's all good. And I went into the cubicle to do my business, and then when I came out of the toilet, there was a security guard there. That guy had left and got the security guard because he was worried I was like some crazy chick who was gonna like accuse him of sexual assault or something. And I kind of had to explain to the security guard, hey, I'm trans, this is the deal. And they were both cool with it in the end, but that was the point where I was just like, alright, now's the time. So since then, I've presented as female. I went and got my ID changed. My name is legally changed to Brittany now, and I haven't looked back. I mean, the thing is, I haven't really changed much. I still dress, my style is pretty much tomboy. I haven't really changed much. I wear the occasional dress, but other than that, I wear shorts and a t-shirt, jeans and a t-shirt, hoodies and, things like that. My dress sense is still very much tomboy, so nothing really has changed. All that's changed is I shop in the female section now as opposed to the men's section. Actually, sometimes I shop in the boys section, and the girls section, because if I buy the largest size, the size 16s, I fit into those, and sometimes they have some really cool stuff in there. So sometimes I shop there, but most of the time I shop in the women's section. So yeah, that is my story. I basically allowed society to decide for me, and for me personally, that was the most comfortable way to do it, because I wasn't putting myself in a situation where I was like plastering makeup on my face and wearing dresses and risking ridicule, basically, because I've heard horror stories about people that have been brave enough to do that, brave enough to present in public as themselves, and I wanted that kind of bravery, but I just didn't have it. So I just decided, for me personally, I'm just going to do it this way and allow society to decide for me when I will start presenting as female. And it worked for me. Sure, it took a year, but after a year, it was a little bit more than a year, like a year and 4 months, something like that. But yeah, after that, like, I haven't had any problems. I started presenting as female, and I've never had an issue. I've been very fortunate. I know a lot of people out there have had issues, have been assaulted, and things like that. I'm very aware of how lucky I am to live in the world that I live in the country that I live in, and to have access to all the services and support, and just be in such a friendly country, such an accepting country. I'm well aware of that, and you know, that has definitely played an important role in how comfortable my transition has been. So I'm aware of that, and I don't take that for granted. I'm, you know, very mindful that there are a lot of people that don't have it so easy, whether it be people in countries that are not so accepting, or people that have transitioned later in life because they didn't have this opportunity when they were little. Well, not little, but younger. Um, you know, I know how lucky I am, so I never forget that. But that's my story. That's how I transitioned. I let society to decide for me, and yeah, it's it's kind of it was kind of confusing for some people when I first told them, like some of my friends, how I first told them about my transition. When I said, I had people misgendering me, you know, calling me a female, and they're like, "Isn't that what you wanted?" And I was just like, "Well, at the time, no." You know what I mean? It was nice, but it was just like I was still presenting as male at the time, so it can confuse some people, but for me, it worked. And yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy how I am these days. So yeah. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section, and I will do my best to answer them. If you have another topic you'd like me to discuss, feel free to leave that down there as well. Like, subscribe if you're into these kinds of videos. I mostly post like pickups, like, you know, movies and music and stuff like that. But I do the odd video like this. So yeah, feel free to subscribe, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. I am going to leave this one here. Till next time, ciao for now.